the Lord. Be a praying president, not a religious one, for I will fool the people, says the Lord. God says, I will put at your helm for 2 terms a president that will pray, but he will not be a praying president when he starts. I will put him in office, and then I will baptize him with the Holy Spirit and my power, says the Lord.
The Spirit of the Lord says there shall be one assassination attempt that shall endeavor to destroy the plans that I have for this nation. Look to your vice president.
But California, I'm looking at you. Goldstone, California. God says, once you recognize the man that I have raised up, pray, for the enemy will do everything in his power to put a witch in the White House. Hear me. I have found a man after my own heart, and he is amongst you. He is one of the brothers but singled out for presidency of the United States of America. Strange July, hypnotic November, and oh Christmas, where winter shall say, and me, I will make them happy. My will shall be done. And in the fall will show you whom I have chosen to pray for and guide this nation. You shall rejoice, for it is my man. It is my chosen David, says the Lord, the Lord, the Lord, the Lord, the Lord, the Lord.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Code Breakers Live on this lovely, freezing cold Sunday. It is so cold. And yes, I'm seeing in the, I think it's Rumble. That's Rumble. You guys are asking, Rosemary Clark is asking, hope those in Tennessee are safe. Just saw the terrible flooding in the area. Yes. Actually, my husband went and drove around this morning and had a look at the river where we live near the Harpeth River, and he went there and looked, and it was just, he was FaceTiming me, and it's overflowing. So we got a lot of rain, big storm last night. I mean, that I was sitting out, I have an enclosed patio, and I sit out there often. I'm a person who I just have to be outside. I can't be inside too much. So I have heaters and stuff out there, and as long as it's not too cold, and it was not cold. It's cold today. It was not cold yesterday. So I was sitting out there with my dog. Lightning, and when you see lightning and then you count 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, see how far away, because it's supposed to be like every mile. I mean, every time you count, it's a mile. And so I saw the lightning and I counted. I was barely 1,000, and the thunder, the lightning struck. The thunder was so loud, and it just kept going and going. And I literally jumped up and screamed. My dog jumped up. Freddie, my bull mastiff, jumped up and barked. I ran inside. And so it was, thank you, Jacqueline. It was a little bit scary last night. I get more scared or concerned. I don't want to say, well, I don't want to say I'm scared. I'm not really that scared, but I get concerned about the wind where we live, because there's a lot of trees, huge trees behind our house. And I always get worried about the trees blowing down, because we've had that happen twice since we've lived there. We've had a tree fall onto our fence, busted our fence twice. That's happened. And so that's what I was more worried about last night. But we were also concerned because there were tornado warnings and watches. And so we were telling the kids where to go. We had our plan. We were fine. Everything was fine. There was a lot of rain. And then it went from, at I think around midnight, the temperature was in the 50s, maybe 60s. By this morning at 7 o'clock, it was almost to freezing and snowing. So that was crazy. We went from like warm, almost felt like a spring kind of summer storm with thunder and tornado activity to freezing cold this morning. And so, of course, in Tennessee, if you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes because it changes here so much. That's something I love, though. So let me say hello to some people who are here. West Virginia Mountain Mama, hello. I see other people are saying hi to you. And you guys are having a good little chat over there in Rumble. I see everybody that's on the House of Destiny chat. Hi, Cynthia, Ronnie, Tommy. You guys are welcome. I'm so happy to see you there in the House of Destiny chat. And so anybody watching right now, if you're wondering what is she talking about, you can watch this show live on our network at the House of Destiny. And that's houseofdestiny.org or kimclement.com. We'll take you there too. And so just reading comments there. Liberty Hill, Texas. Hello. Florida. Hello. Let me open YouTube. I don't even have you guys open yet. Let's open that up and see what you guys. Oh, there we go. There's everybody. We're going to talk about Elon Musk today. Louisiana. Oh, you guys had bad storms. You had it worse than I did last night in Louisiana. I was watching you guys. South Carolina, you too. You guys got some storms. I had the weather on. My husband and I, we watch a guy named Ryan Hall, y'all. And he has a YouTube channel, but he's great. And when there's bad weather, he'll go live and just give you live updates. So we just leave him on YouTube on our TV. Southwest Kansas, New Mexico, more Tennessee people, Cleveland, Tennessee. I see you there, Stephen. Michigan, how are you guys? I know you guys got some of this storm too. Now we got rain. A lot of people above us got snow. So I know Ontario, Canada, didn't you get snow last night? Yeah. Mississippi, you guys were struggling last night during that storm. I saw Washington State, San Diego over there in Rumble. Oh, did you guys see Washington, D.C., since Trump and Elon Musk are doing their thing over there? All the houses that have gone up for sale in Washington, D.C. Did you see? I'm seeing that. I went on Realtor.com myself, and I typed in Washington, D.C., and everything is for sale. Everything. I was just over there in Washington, D.C., like the week before the election. If you guys remember me and Christy and Charlie Jordan, we did, we filmed and prayed all over the mall over there, that area in Washington, D.C., and the Capitol's there and all the stuff. And that's where I looked, and everything is for sale. They're all running away. And there's someone on Rumble, Trafford Hope 4RI. I don't know how to say it. I'm sorry if I butchered that. They're running away. That's right. They're running away. And there's been searches for the searches for lawyers have skyrocketed. So people are freaking out. And that really tells us what we need to know. There's something going on here, Lou, with the chat. I'm not going to touch it, but you may want to come and have a look. Oh, Lori Hauer watches Ryan Hall. And Max Velocity. I watch Max Velocity and Ryan Hall. Max Velocity is a newer account that I've been watching, but Ryan Hall we've been watching. My mom too. We all watch Ryan Hall. We love Ryan Hall, y'all. And he's got the snow meter, and you can read this. So he's got a cool little setup there, and he's got the guys that go out and storm chase. It's really fun to watch, and it's you stay informed. Yes, it's gone now. Thanks. And you stay informed really well. Medicaid connected to USAID. I don't know. I don't know that. There's a lot of that stuff. I'm not so sure. Okay, so I'm going to start with this. Okay, so reaction to Doge. We're going to get to the Giants. I'm going to show you that prophecy again, and we're going to have a look because there's some stuff happening with BRICS as well. And so flooding bad in Virginia area, reporting deaths. Oh no. Oh my goodness, we need to keep praying for those affected by the storm because you know what, I'm sitting here talking about it, but some people really had a rough time during that storm last night, although I hadn't heard of deaths yet. Change the name of Washington, D.C. to something else. Time for I know, right? I couldn't think. I can't think of another thing to. I'm still like so surprised about the Gulf of America. I'm happy about it, but I'm so surprised. I mean, that was just another thing. So I want to play a video for you because of the reaction that we've had from some people over the government being audited by Doge. And you can really tell how brainwashed people are because they're so worried about the richest man in the world getting their social security numbers. And it's like, well, what do you think he started PayPal. If he wanted those, he already has them. We have concerns, more long-term concerns about Elon Musk, as you know, because we've had Clay Clark on here, and it's good to not just be like, oh, we just trust him and whatever. But I really think that what he's doing is exactly what needs to be done. And anybody complaining right now, most of those people are long-term politicians who have been politicians for decades, and really they don't have a place to complain. They can't say anything. I don't care. They can scream and shout and accuse and all the dramatics, but the bottom line is they've been in government for decades, and if there's a problem with the money, they're part of that problem because they have not presented any other ideas to fix the budget or do anything. So the only thing we have right now is Elon Musk, who, again, he's the richest man in the world. So I'm not worried about him trying to steal our money. I would be more concerned about, he's going to want something. He wants something for it. I do feel that. And I think it's probably, for instance, whatever, what's his name? Modi from India was there. Is he the prime minister? I think it's the prime minister as well. He's not a president. But Modi from India was there, and I noticed Elon Musk talked to him. So like anybody coming in and out, he's talking to those people, and that's probably beneficial to his endeavors. But I don't think he's trying to steal anything from us, and it's so silly. And I really do believe that part of this has to do with where my dad prophesied about death to debt and healings for diseases. Because now we're discovering that, for instance, cancer, they've been holding back cures for these things. Medications they've been giving, vaccines, those kind of things are causing a spike in autism, a spike in Alzheimer's. So we're going to cover that today as well. But let's play. You've called it Dem song. You guys, okay, I'm making fun of this right now. And I hope it's just the song. We don't need to play the whole 2 minutes. But let's just play a little bit. I'll tell you when to stop. Go ahead and play it.
Which side are you on? Tell me, which side are you on? Which side are you on? We'll fight against Doge. We'll fight Elon Musk. No Elon's kept within our walls. We'll fight from dawn to dusk. Oh, which side are you on? 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 Trump's
Okay, Lou, you can turn it off. It's enough. So now man, that's catchy. That's a catchy tune. Gets stuck in my head, and I'm walking around the house going, which side are you on? And the worse you sing it, the best. Which side are you on? You got to sing it badly. So those people that are doing that, I think, they're part of the unions or whatever, and the unions will be somehow affected. But it is catchy. Oh, my goodness. Those are the people we really need to pray for because they have not woken up yet. And if you notice their age, they're, a little bit older than me. So maybe you could knock them off the generation before me, around my parents' generation. And they grew up, watching the news, and you could believe the news, and you could trust the doctors. So for some of these people, it's very difficult to kind of change their mindset, especially if for instance, if they're part of unions, they've been benefiting from the system. So, but don't worry, they're just a very small percentage. But I mean, I had to share that one with you because which side are you on? Which side are you on? I'm on the side of auditing the government that's stealing our money. And any idiot singing that song, I mean, that says it all. That says it all. That's all they have. That's all that they have is that little group of people. Cringe. Thank you, Carlos. And it's I shouldn't make fun of people. I do pray for them, but man, if you're putting yourself out there like that and you so I'm starting today with that. That was the idea. Which side are you on? Which side are you on? And look, here's the thing. I'm nodding my head to my sister. I just realized you couldn't hear her. This is the thing. All of the people who are shouting the loudest, I would say those are the first people that need to be investigated, because we saw when they were doing the Senate hearings for RFK Jr. how Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders freaked out. And remember, I showed you guys the onesie video, and Bernie Sanders is shouting about the onesie. Do you support that onesie? Well, it came out, Bernie Sanders, and we talked about this before, Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren received the most money from Big Pharma. So of course they're mad at RFK Jr. And of course they're going to make idiots of themselves, because I don't think it's just about money, like in a sort of a basic, like, oh, we're not going to get our money anymore. I don't think it's as simple as that. I think they've taken money, and for taking that money, it's in exchange for whatever they can do being in the Senate. As far as votes and all kinds of things, committees and things, investigating things, So they're probably they're probably afraid as well. And so, as in afraid for maybe their lives, or, it could end badly for them. So every time I've seen, like, Maxine Waters I actually have something on X for that. Lou, do you want me to put X up, or are you going to do it for me? He's done it for me. He's wonderful, isn't he? Okay. I'm just looking at your comments, though, before I pull that up, because I won't be able to see them for a minute. Okay. So what I'm going to do is scroll down. We're going to start from the bottom and go up, because I have organized it that way. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. I hope you had a good one. We had plans. We had plans for Valentine's. And we ended up staying home and hanging out with the kids and ordering food and watching movies and not going out, because we're okay that way. I think I was going to start here. Let's make sure. No, I was going to go further down. Bear with me for a moment, everybody. Yes, I need to go further down. Okay, so we'll start off where we left off last week. I think we can start here. Oh, during the Super Bowl last week, Trump with the pennies. This is during the Super Bowl. He tweets, "For far too long, the United States has minted pennies, which literally cost us more than 2 cents. This is so wasteful. I've instructed my Secretary of the U.S. Treasury to stop producing new pennies. Let's rip the waste out of our great nation's budget, even if it's a penny at a time." Bravo, I agree. So everybody's got your pennies. Hold on to them, because won't they become more valuable if they stop making them? I think they might. Either way, it'd be cool to have pennies, because they're not going to make them anymore. Yeah, Teresa Lozo in 92 in Rumble. Maxine is totally unhinged. So why? Why would she be totally unhinged over Elon Musk looking at and auditing the government? Yes.
About the pennies, they said that only the ones that have copper in them.
Do they not all have copper?
No. Some of the pennies have mixed metals in, but the ones that are actual copper, they are worth a lot more. They're worth a lot more.
How do we know if our pennies have copper?
I guess you got to get it tested or checked, but those are the ones you got to keep.
Good to know. Thank you, Bella.
2 cents.
Wonderful. I'll have a drink of water on
2
that.
pennies.
Okay. So Pastor Mark Driscoll said, I retweeted him because I thought this was good. The only woke commercial during the Super Bowl was a Christian organization. Tells you everything you need to know about the current state of the church. And that is something we really need to be paying attention to right now because there's some messy things going on. Now, I follow Bricks News, and you'll notice that I often retweet them. You might say, Donnie, why do you do that? Your dad prophesied about bricks and the giants, and but it's best to get the news straight from them. So anyway, this was interesting. Oxford scientists claim to have achieved teleportation using a quantum supercomputer. Now that's very interesting to me, as it would be to anybody, I think. Pennies made before 1980 are the full copper ones. Thank you, Cheese for Brains. I think you have more than Cheese for Brains because you knew that and I didn't. So before 1980, I was born in 1979. So for as long as I've been alive, and I'm 45. And the new pennies, West Virginia Mountain Mama says new pennies cost 3 to 4 cents to make. Oh my goodness. Wow, how interesting. 1982 penny is copper. Oh. Okay. Well, either way, I thought that was so funny. He did that during the Super Bowl. Okay. What's next on my list here? Elon Musk announces the Department of Education no longer exists. And so you're going to have unions protesting, but the people protesting don't understand it. It actually will end up better for them too. The system is being overhauled, and that really is what we needed to happen. And what is good, they're going to keep, because it's not going to be to either Trump or Elon Musk's advantage if anything they do fails. So you know that they're going to make sure, because their entire reputation and everything they've worked for is going to depend on the success of these things that they're doing. And so they're really, really motivated because of this environment where they're being attacked so much. They're going to be motivated. I just like that picture. Megyn Kelly. I watch Megyn Kelly often, and I really like her. Here's more on the pennies. Charlie Kirk retweeted it as well. Why would anyone in government, this is Donald Trump Jr., why would anyone in government not committing fraud be against transparency and audits? Yes, exactly. Why would you, don't you want to know where your money's going? I mean, the panic. It's so telling, so telling. Oh, this is lovely. Okay. I liked this post and I reposted it because I know Paula White, and I was so disappointed to see how Christians behaved at Trump appointing her. What is she? The head of the White House Faith Office. Now, here's what I know about Paula White. First of all, I love Paula White. She's a beautiful person. She's a good person. And Paula White has been through a lot in her life. She has not had an easy time. But in the early 2000s, it was Paula White who led Trump in the sinner's prayer. And it was through her that he gave his life to Christ officially by saying the sinner's prayer. And long before anybody was thinking about Donald Trump being president or running for president, when Donald Trump was just a real estate guy who had a show, I don't even think he had the show yet, Paula White was there and led him to Christ. And he's known her for a long time. And he's in a position right now where, I'm sure he's meeting all kinds of wonderful people. And he expresses that often, especially in the Christian community. And I can tell you that as being someone who went on the Reawaken America tour. I didn't meet Donald Trump, but I met Eric and Don Jr. And he really has not only acknowledged the Christian community, but stood up for them when no one else would. When it is totally fine to attack Christians, to blame them for everything, to put them down. The treatment of Christians compared to every other group of people is awful anywhere in the world. And Donald Trump, he may not be perfect. He may not have everything, but he has acknowledged Christ. He took his mother's Bible and held his mother's Bible up. Again and again, he has allowed people to put their hands on him and pray for him and agreed with them. And he has acknowledged God for saving his life, for giving him the destiny of being the president of this great nation and leading us through this restoration. And Paula White was there long before anybody else was there. So, of course, he trusts her. Now, Paula White was the one who was trying to get my dad to President Trump. She'd offered my dad a little bit, I don't remember how long, a few months before Trump came down the escalator. And then afterwards, she contacted him again. I believe it was after he came down the escalator, and was, I think it was trying to get my dad to President Trump, like doing everything she could. And the only reason my dad did not make it to meet President Trump is because he had a stroke. So God stopped that from happening. I think in hindsight, we look at the accuracy of what he prophesied, and the fact that he never actually met Trump is a huge testament to the authenticity of his gift. But it was Paula White who knew Kim Clement needs to get to Donald Trump. Now, we know now that may not have been God's will, but she was trying. And so my dad spent a lot of time, after she had to take over their church. Now, this is going back many years. Her and her husband were running the ministry that they had, the church that they had. And my dad used to go there. And, a lot of stuff happened with them. His daughter had her ex-husband now had cancer. It was a terrible thing that happened. It completely broke him. And, that didn't work out between them. But she was left there with the church. And she made something of it. She built it. And she's just, she's really defied so many things. And, there's a lot of people who don't like the idea of women leading in ministry. But there you go. Deborah Orchid, Randy White. There you go. She says, I know Paula White and her then husband, Randy White. I don't understand why everybody attacks her so much. I just don't get that. I mean, anyway, I am defending her because I do know her. And I'm so glad it's her that's there with Trump. Because let me tell you something. She is there's nothing fake about her. She is one of the strongest women that I know. And what you guys will notice is that, normally it isn't women leading in ministry. It'll be the husband and his wife together. But there is something that's happened to the men, especially in the West, where the enemy has attacked the men. Look at the transgender thing that's happened. Look how they blame men for everything, especially the white man is blamed for everything, a toxic masculinity, and it's just been completely rejected. And look at the effect on society as a result, by the way. But what you've seen happen is, in a lot of instances, women who were supporting their husbands have been pushed into a position of leadership, often against what they would have chosen. But God has done this, I think, for a season, because I do think that it's much better if you have the husband and the wife. I'm not against a woman leading, but in general, it is, no matter where you go, you're going to find that it's, and I've been to a lot. This is something I know about. I've traveled to many, many, many churches through my life from a small child. All kinds of churches, all kinds of denominations, because my dad used to just go wherever God sent him. So if God told him to go somewhere, he would go. And it didn't matter what was going on. But God sent my dad to Paula and Randy White, and all the things that happened And, he really suffered. Randy White did when he lost his daughter. It was very difficult for them. And, the breakup of their marriage was not anything that Paula did wrong. He was broken after that, and it was very difficult for him. And she did what she could with what was left, and I have limited knowledge of the story as well. I'd love to have her on sometime and let her talk to you guys. But, I just see so much scandal, people slandering, Christians slandering other Christians. And instead of celebrating, wow, President Trump has put a faith office. Can you imagine? In the White House, as part of his administration, a faith office protecting Christians. And everybody, not everybody, but there are some people, Without Walls. Thank you, Anna Lorraine. I was trying to remember the name of the church. It's Without Walls. You know how many meetings my dad did there and prophesied from there? And I'm reading New World Sun talking about, I won't say names. I'm not going to say names. Okay, you guys can read in the comments yourself. That's in Rumble. But yeah, there's people who have just been, that same person you're talking about over there in Rumble spoke badly of me too and my dad. So I just, I don't want to get into that though. I don't want to be slandering other Christians. They're not going to be perfect, okay? And unless it's something egregious, like some of the stuff that's come out about some of these leaders, there's nothing you can do about that. You're never going to have people leading be perfect. At the same time, you do have to have a standard, though. You do. I'm not saying it should just be a free-for-all. But I don't like what I'm seeing out there just in general of Christians attacking other Christians. Stop it. Can you just be happy that there is a faith office protecting us for once? And that Trump chose the person he trusts. Because you know what? She was there before any of us were. She was there ministering to him and sharing. And if you don't like her theology and she's whatever, prosperity, gospel, whatever, then fine. You don't have to agree with her. But the cruelty, and just, you really see it on social media because people are sort of, feel more free to speak. I do. I feel more free to speak my mind. So people do tend to. But stop with the throwing stones. I mean, my goodness gracious, treat others the way you would want to be treated, right? So, God's blessed her and put her in that position. Now she has to, it's not like she's just going to have a fun old time now. It's probably going to be really difficult. And what she needs is people praying for her and saying, you know what, I may not agree with this or this idea that she has or this part of her theology, but there's so much nonsense about that too. Gosh, you guys, we've had 2,000 years to figure this out, and we're still arguing. I tend to get, at a certain point, I'm very interested in this kind of, especially theology, and what does this mean, and what does this mean? It's good. We're supposed to look at those things. But stop sending one another to hell. We're supposed to be saving people from hell, not sending one another to hell. Not saying, well, I don't like Paula White, and she da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So she's going to hell because her theology doesn't match my theology. Stop. Okay? Because what you are now being distracted from is your real enemy, who are pedophiles and child rapists, people who are stealing your money. 300,000 children have gone missing on the border. Where have they gone? Where have they gone? Where are those children? They're finding them now. That is true evil. Your enemies are not your fellow Christians because you disagree on whether or not you should speak in tongues. Pull it together. I can't take it. It makes me so upset because it's not that those things are not important, and I don't want to misspeak. It's not that they're not important things. But it's not enough. It's not enough because I know, now I have the advantage of knowing Paula White. So I know she's not a crook, and I know she's a good person. And I know she loves God and has given her whole life. Under the most impossible of circumstances, she has overcome in a way I have not seen any other woman overcome. And so I will defend her because I know her and I can. But here I am, a voice saying, stop it. Stop it. This is a time when God has chosen to put women in leadership. And I think it's a temporary thing. It's not ideal. We want a man and a woman. We want the husband and the wife leading because both have their part to play. But we are in different circumstances, unprecedented. It's never happened. Things that are happening right now have never happened in all of history, not in this way. And what we saw was a lot of leaders going. Okay, my dad was one, John Paul Jackson, Marcus Lamb. Those are just a few that just in the last few years we've seen go, and also other leaders like Billy Graham, Oral Roberts. In the last couple of decades or last decade or so, we've seen them go. Gene Scott was another one. And you see their wives or spouses sort of being put into it. My mother is one of these people where my dad died and we had these prophecies and it was like, well, what do we do? We can't just leave the prophecies. Well, we must go find a man now to do it for us. Well, we can't do that anymore. And so for whatever reason, and you guys can tell me what you think. I mean, this is coming out of me right now. I'm just sort of examining this because I'm recognizing that me and my mom were put in a position where my dad was the man, the head. My mother was there with him. They were doing it together. But it was the way things should be. But everything else in the world hasn't been as it should be. And so, there's a problem with the men in that they have been attacked. And a part of that problem is the mother and the mothering. And so I think that we need some mothering, especially the men, so that our men can be built up strong again. Because we see a lot of weakness in the men in pulpits. The men have been under attack. And so God is using, just like in World War II, when the soldiers all had to go fight in the war, and the women had to take up men's jobs for a little while to just keep things running. I think that's kind of the kind of thing that's going on. And so, and I know a lot of the people who don't like Paula White, because I was reading comments and it was making me so upset. It's not because she's a woman either. That was just one of the things. But that is something I've noticed. So anyway, I won't go on and on. But I love her. I love her. Because I know her. I love her. I know she's genuine. I know she loves God. And I know that God has put her in that position. And what we need to be doing is praying for her. So anyway, a New World Sun. Bob Jones, John Paul Jackson, and your dad have prophetic words surrounding Trump's time in office. And they all died around 2000. That's exactly what I'm saying. So there's something to that. It means more than just some random thing. Or now, there's these women around. No, there's meaning to it. There's purpose to it. And so as a woman who was, and it's not as much as it was for my mom, but was sort of thrust into a situation where, normally I wouldn't have been there. God is doing something, and don't allow gossip and slander and all that kind of thing to distract you from what God might actually be doing here. And it is different. And I think it's temporary. I think we have to build up our men again. And the weakness in men, it starts at home with the mother. And so there's a mothering happening. This is what I think is going on. And so anyway, that's my 2 cents on Paula White. And yes, I see someone saying thank you for defending her. I will defend her. I know her. And then someone else is bringing up Amanda Grace and Julie Green. See these people that God has raised up, women that God has raised up for this time. And yes, it's Paula White Kane. She married the guy from Legend. And is it Legend? Oh my gosh, I actually do know this, and I'm not thinking about it. Bob Joyce is Elvis. I saw him in Arkansas preach. He was so anointed. I'd never even heard of him before, but he was very anointed when he preached. It was amazing. It was really good. And I was there with Gene Ho at the George magazine event. Okay, let me just make sure I'm on the right track here. Okay, let's get back to this. So let's keep moving. Lance says Christianity Today just got exposed for taking money from the left to infiltrate and undermine the Christians supporting Trump. Wow. No shock there. Yeah, there's a whole sect of Christians who are just like, it's very confusing. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't get that. Okay. So here's Trump talking about autism. So now remember my dad prophesied about cures and healing for autism and Alzheimer's. So something I'm looking at is, there's the miracle side of healing, but it was more cures that my dad was prophesying about. Not just healing, it was cures, that it's no more. Cancer's no more. Alzheimer's no more. Autism no more. So what's happening is there's been, because of everything they're doing, especially RFK Jr. is a huge part of this. Why have we seen a rise in cases of autism? Why have we seen a rise in Alzheimer's? And because the attention now, it's not just a conspiracy theory. Now we're saying, hang on. Every time we ask this question, we're called a conspiracy theorist and anti-vax, when actually we're saying, no, we're seeing that there is a negative effect happening, and we want to know if it's something in the vaccines, because you're shooting them on our kids. Like, how many of them, as soon as the child is born, a bunch of stuff they probably don't even need, and perhaps that's having some kind of an effect. Okay, I have an autistic son. My husband's grandfather lived with us from 2015 to 2021 when he died. He had Alzheimer's. I took care of him every single day of that, 6-year period, and saw what Alzheimer's does. I'm hands-on experience with all of these diseases, including cancer, which is what took my father. And so if there are things that have been held back from us, so that the pharmaceutical companies could make money, or what people are making money, that's really the bottom line here. If we figure that out and take those things away that are causing it, could that be a way that there is a cure? And I think that it may be along those lines. But let's listen to what Trump said. I'm going to make him big.
It's been really amazing. It's been amazing. The relationships have been good. And we don't always agree on everything, but we get there. We had a couple of people that had to get a little bit, they had to study a little bit further to get some of our nominees. I think you're going to find our nominees are very good. I think it's very important. When we talk Bobby Kennedy, I think he's up there having dinner tonight. It's very interesting, but he's a good person. And he's not a radical. He said, I'm getting sort of this reputation of being anti-vaccine and everything else. He said, I'm not anti, and I understand through the campaign that his kids had vaccines and all. He said, I grew up in a slightly political family. Would you say that was the Kennedy? He said, I grew up in a political family. I mean, I'm not a crazy person. I'm very moderate in a certain way, and I never forgot that, and I think it's true. But I think we need somebody like this, and Dr. Oz working with him, because if you look at autism and you go back 20 years, I think it was like 1 in 10,000 children. But actually, I think the number is even higher than that. 1 in 10,000, 1 in 20,000 children had autism. And now it's 1 in 34. What's that all about? 1 in 34. And
I saw someone in the comments there saying autism is genetic. I do believe it's genetic, but I think that there's something inside of those vaccines that's triggering something that wouldn't have been triggered, or doing something. Because I don't have a history of autism in my family at all. But my cousin and I both had children around the exact same time, around 2013, 14, and our kids were autistic. First in our family ever. No history of it. And it was extraordinarily unusual because around that time period, it wasn't just me and my cousin. there's at least 5 or 6 other families who I immediately knew who had children at the same time as me who also had kids with autism. And we all lived around the same area except for my cousin was in England. So there may be a genetic inclination, but something is forcing it or making it happen, or something's wrong. And it's fine to ask the question, is if we're wrong, we're wrong. But what if we're not? We're not allowed to look. We're not allowed to ask because we're going to be anti-vax. That's insane. It's the same as the people shouting and screaming about not auditing the government, spending our money. We can't look. We can't ask. No, we can look. We can ask. I have an autistic son. I'm asking. I'm not scared to ask. And maybe it is just a genetic thing that just popped up all of a sudden in my family and everybody who had kids around me living in the same area at the same time. Maybe it was just a coincidence, but I don't think so. I'm not being weird to you who commented that at all. I mean, it obviously is, there's genetics involved in that, of course, but I think that, it's worthy of asking. And for me, it's not just that my son is autistic, but also that my dad prophesied about this before I ever had him, before I ever had that son. My dad was prophesying about autism, Alzheimer's, cancer. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. And I'm so glad that President Trump is acknowledging it because, as he said of RFK Jr., he's not anti-vax. We were never anti-vax. Like the polio vaccine is awesome. Yes. But these things that they're doing now, they're calling everything vaccines that aren't even like mRNA. They're calling it vaccine. That's not your traditional vaccine. So to label it vaccine and then just put it along with the polio vaccine when you know it's not the same, that's a problem. And we should be able to ask. And I'm fine. You guys know me. I'm fine. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Fine. I'm wrong. It's okay to be wrong, but we must ask. We must ask. Because what if you're not wrong? And what if you can fix that problem by simply just looking and saying, oh, well, maybe this part of the vaccine is what's causing this to happen. So let's not use that part. Let's find a way to fix that. We can still have the vaccine, but just figure out what's in there that's causing 1 in 10,000 to jump to 1 in 34. And that's nothing. It's just coincidental. No. And if something is, so many of these things are so obvious. And in the past, we would have had no problem. You go back 20 years. If we were presented with this, we wouldn't have had a problem. But because of the political climate and the propaganda and the media and how much power and influence they have over us and how much money these people are making, it's a different situation now. So we must adjust, I think. Adjust. Okay, we don't need to go on and on about the taxes. Let's hear what happened this week.
Delivered on behalf of you, the American people. On immigration, illegal migrant encounters between the ports of entry are down nearly 87%. On the economy, President Trump laid out a plan to establish a sovereign wealth fund to better invest the more than $5 trillion in assets held by the United States. He also proposed tariffs on imports from Canada and Mexico and China, and those tariffs were swiftly paused after our allies agreed to step up and address these issues. We are streamlining USAID into the State Department. President Trump signed a historic executive order to ban men in women's sport. Lastly, President Trump is already making our military strong again. Army recruitment in the month of December, with the anticipation of President Trump's return to the Oval Office, hit a 15-year high. We'll see you for next week's MAGA Minute. Welcome to the
Isn't that nice? Oh, I love her little reports every week. She's so cute. Much happier with her. We had another plane. We had a couple of more plane incidences. I don't think it's terrorist activity, though. I was thinking that I was looking at that prophecy. We looked at it a couple weeks ago. And I don't think God brought that to my attention for no reason. I think we need to be still looking at the You Know Nothing prophecy from March 20th of 2014, where he's talking about the Malaysian jet. And he says they have trained pilots. They will train pilots to plunge, to attack, to steal. We must not forget about that, but I'm not so sure. I'm just not sure. So this is part of what I was. Do I even want to hear this?
And in this nation, I'm worried that we are on the verge of bloodshed. This is an attempt to take us back to a day that we do not want to go and we will not go. So therefore, there will be conflict. I pray that the peace of God will win out and overcome the madness that is attempting to take over this nation. And I will say to you, beloved, no one likes violence, but sometimes violence is necessary. When Elon Musk forces his way into the United States Treasury and threatens to steal your personal information and your Social Security check, there is the possibility of violence.
The richest man in the world wants to steal your Social Security check. So we must now be violent. I'm sorry. That's insane. Lord Jesus, please help that man. Please help that man. Please help that pastor. I have to pray for him because that's all I have to say about that today. So here's more Democrats shouting against auditing the government. It's
every morning they put on their clothes and they come to buildings like this all over the country to do a simple, nonpartisan job, and that is to serve the people of America with the best service they can provide. Yes, they work hard. Yes, they play by the rules. Yes, they love their country. Yes, they cherish their faith. And yes, they want a fair shot. What we're seeing coming out of Washington is anything but that. Every time you hear DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, you just remember it is the Department of Government Evil.
See what I'm saying? What is wrong with them? Unless they're guilty of something. They've taken money. Yes, thank you. The Branch on YouTube. No, they don't even show up. They have been working since COVID. Everybody's working from home, collecting that paycheck, just sitting at home in their jammies all day. Now they're upset because they're not going to get that easy money anymore. And I'm not saying people that work for the government are evil or bad. Not everybody. But they need to find, they need to be able to step back for a minute so that you want to make sure that the job you're doing is actually helping. Because he was just describing how they show up to work and they do a good job and they want to do the right thing for America. Yes. So maybe that particular position you were in at no fault of your own is corrupted. So you have to be moved out of the way and find something else. And, that happens to people across the world every single day. And so they're not any more special than other people as far as that's concerned. And we have to do something. We cannot allow, they're going on about Social Security. There's not going to be any Social Security left for anybody, no matter even if you pay to it, because they've been stealing it. So those people that have lost their jobs, they're using those people, who, by the way, Trump offered them a 6-month severance package. I mean, you got 6 months to find another job where you're going to keep getting paid. That's not bad. Audit everything. Yes. Why wouldn't you? The other thing is the gold. We're going to get to that.
And Obama actually started Doge because he started this whole. If you listen, there's a group, it pops up on my X page called the Obama Bros. And they said they worked for Obama. And this is what they were going to do. They were going to find the corruption and bring down the spending and everything. All the Democrats were very happy about it.
I saw a speech with Obama saying that.
And then they said, the Obama Bros said, we tried to do this, but we got red taped all the time and stopped. Bill Clinton, he started it back then.
Yeah. And I saw videos. I might even have some on my timeline.
And if you remember your dad prophesying death to debt back all the way back then.
Yes.
Even way before
many
Obama.
Years ago.
So this whole thing has been a build-up of the death to debt right up till now.
Yes. It has. And we're about to see the death to that debt. We're watching it get killed. Okay, so here we go. Here's a little evaluation. We haven't even gotten to the Giants yet. We're going to run out of time. I better speed this up. But look, Nancy Pelosi's annual salary, $223,000. Her net worth, $202 million. How'd she do that? Well, she's been working there long enough. What I do know is everybody watches Nancy Pelosi's stock portfolio. That should tell you everything. Mitch McConnell, $200,000 a year, net worth $95 million. Chucky Schumer, annual salary $210,000, net worth $75 million. Elizabeth Warren, $295,000 is her annual salary, but her net worth is $67 million. How did they do that? Did they all write incredible books that everybody read? I don't think so. I don't think so. So the other day, Elon Musk went into the Oval Office and gave a report. Let's see. We'll play these. Let's have a look at this. I'll make that bigger.
Democracy. This may seem like, well, aren't we in a democracy? Well, if you don't have a feedback loop, okay, we would have to. If you, sorry. Tell you, gravitas can be difficult sometimes.
It's cute.
So, if there's not a good feedback loop from the people to the government, and if you have rule of the bureaucrat, if the bureaucracy is in charge, and then what meaning does democracy actually have? If the people cannot vote and have their will be decided by their elected representatives in the form of the president and the Senate and the House, then we don't live in a democracy. We live in a bureaucracy. So it's incredibly important that we close that feedback loop, we fix that feedback loop, and that the public's elected representatives, the president, the House, and the Senate, decide what happens, as opposed to a large, unelected bureaucracy. This is not to say that there aren't some good. There are good people who are in the federal bureaucracy, but you can't have an autonomous federal bureaucracy. You have to have one that is responsive to the people. That's the whole point of a democracy. And if you looked at this, if you looked at the founders today and said, what do you think of the way things have turned out? Well, we have this unelected, fourth unconstitutional branch of government, which is the bureaucracy, which has, in a lot of ways, currently more power than any elected representative. And this is not something that people want, and it's not. It does not match the will of the people. So it's just something we've got to fix. And we've also got to address the deficit. So we've got a $2 trillion deficit, and if we don't do something about this deficit, the country's going bankrupt. I mean, it's really astounding that the interest payments alone on the national debt exceed the Defense Department budget, which is shocking because we spend a lot of money on defense. But if that just keeps going, we're essentially going to bankrupt the country. So what I really want to say is, like, it's not optional for us to reduce the federal expenses. It's essential. It's essential for America to remain solvent as a country, and it's essential for America to have the resources necessary to provide things to its citizens and not simply be servicing vast amounts of debt.
Yeah. Now think about that. Think about that. My dad prophesied death to debt. He spoke of the giants. And we're going to look at that prophecy in a minute. But I just wanted to play some of this because what is wrong with what he's saying? I'm seeing somebody, and I'm sorry to distract everybody, but Princess Holy Roller needs prayer for her eyes. You know, I'm sitting here and I'm seeing all these comments and I'm seeing your comment there. Can everybody please, when you are praying, pray for Princess Holy Roller. Lord Jesus, please heal her problem with her eyes today. I saw that and it got my attention. I'm a person who struggles with my vision and eye stuff, so I am definitely, that's something I understand. There, see, I see everybody saying they're going to pray for you. There we go. Great. This is the great thing about all of us gathering together is the power of prayer. And let me tell you something. If you remember when my dad would prophesy, he would say, pray with me, pray with me, pray with me. Because the more people were praying with him, it helped him to see and to prophesy. And it's something that we're supposed to be doing together. But let me just see what this one is.
People in there that are 150 years old.
Okay.
Now, do you know anyone who's 150? I don't know. Okay. They should be on the Guinness Book of World Records. They're missing out. So, that's a case where, I think they're probably dead. It's my guess. Or they should be very famous, one of the two. And there's crazy things like just cursory examination of Social Security.
Okay.
We've got people in there that are 150 years old.
I got confused about where we were in that video. Okay, so people receiving Social Security who are 150 years old. But we don't need to audit the government. Elon Musk is evil. The richest man in the world wants to take your Social Security.
The most number of people that could retire possibly in a month is 10,000. We're like, whoa, why is that? Well, because all the retirement paperwork is manual on paper. It's manually calculated, then written down on a piece of paper. Then it goes down a mine. And what do you mean a mine? There's a limestone mine where we store all the retirement paperwork. And you look at a picture of this mine. We'll post some pictures afterwards. And this mine looks like something out of the 50s because it was started in 1955. So it looks like it's like a time warp. And then the speed, the limiting factor is the speed at which the mine shaft elevator can move determines how many people can retire from the federal government. And the elevator breaks down sometimes, and then nobody can retire. Doesn't that sound crazy? There's 1,000 people that work on this. So I think if we take those people and say, you know what, instead of working in a mine shaft and carrying manila envelopes to, boxes in a mine shaft, you could do practically anything else, and you would add to the goods and services of the United States in a more useful.
So, there's some weird things going on. Isn't that strange? Why would they still be doing it that way? What on earth? We've had computers for decades. Why would you not? See, there's some strange things going. I'm so glad. Of course, it's corruption. Yes, my sister's saying corruption. It is corruption, yes, but that is a mine. With manila folders. I have a picture to show you in a second when we scroll up a little bit more. We'll skip some of this. Chelsea's in. We're happy about that. I love Chelsea. So we're glad she's in. I'm going to see if I can just get up. There was something I was going to show you, and I could probably scroll back down. I want to show you the prophecy as well. But I'm just going to show you just along those same lines. And look at that for Valentine's. There's me and my husband. Over the years, Valentine's. There's another volcano. Look at the volcano in the snow. It's in Italy, Sicily. I want you to see what's going on down this mine. There it is. What in the Willy Wonka Hobbit is going on here? There's the mine. And the federal employees ride tricycles around the limestone caves to fetch the government employee retirement documents. That is insane. That this is what is going on is shocking. I wanted you guys to see that picture, though. Let me make it big. I'm so glad they're doing this audit. Because we're figuring, here's my pastor saying exactly how I feel. He baptized my daughter last year, if you guys remember. This is my pastor, Greg Locke, Global Vision. It's my church. And I couldn't agree with him more than what he's saying right here.
Donald Trump puts in an office, not a cabinet, not just some small little deal, not an assembly of the Avengers. He puts in an office of faith. An office of faith to keep Christians from being persecuted. He writes into law an office of faith, and Christians start persecuting Christians.
What was I just saying?
What is wrong with us, dear God? I don't like this person. I don't like that person. I don't care, nor does God. I'm for revival, no matter who's leading it. I'm for truth. I'm for righteousness. I'm for holiness. I'm for separation from the world. I'm for what God's for. How can we not be for that? And if we are for it, if God be for us, who can be against us?
Yeah.
Not afraid of demons. Not afraid of witches. I'm not laying up at night drinking extra coffee fretting over warlocks. Donald Trump.
I love my pastor, Pastor Greg Locke. He is the best. And man, nobody could have said it better. So the next thing that people are talking about, Elon needs to audit the gold. And this is where it's going to get interesting because my dad prophesied about the gold, and Trump and the gold and BRICS and the gold. Why don't we play that prophecy, Lou? Am I going to do it here? Oh, I'm going to do it. Okay, so how am I going to do it? I'm going to go back. Oh, no. I wasn't supposed to do that. You're going to do it. This is why I have Lou. There's something wrong. Oh, I would. It's there. Okay. No, I do know. There's nothing wrong with me. I just know you're there. Okay, we have it where we want. And if you guys want to watch this prophecy in totality, in the full thing, because it's 17 minutes long, that is on my YouTube channel. Lou, if you could put the link in the description or somewhere so people can watch this whole prophecy, because we can't watch the whole thing now. I just wanted you to see this part. Let me see, 1407. Okay, yes. Okay, watch this.
And God says, these that shall reject him shall be shocked at how he takes the giant down. Now hear me, please. The giant of death, the giants that have come, the brothers of Goliath, stand in glee watching America. We will cripple you. You will lose your credit. But God said, watch. I said 20,000. Look not to Wall Street, however, observe. And they shall say, what is your plan for this giant? And he will take a simple stone. Remember the name. And he will hold it up and they will laugh at him. But the plan is so brilliant, says the Lord. It could only have been given by me. Come on!
Yay! Okay, so I need to go back to X now, Lou. So I told you earlier how I repost and follow BRICS News. And, part of that prophecy with the giants, BRICS is part of that. I don't think it's the only giants, because we've got all these other giants like World Health Organization, World Economic Forum, media. All of those things are giants that we're facing. But one of them has been the alliance of nations like China and Russia, and India and all these other countries, but specifically China and Russia and Iran are not our friends, working to get rid of the dollar and take over control of the global money stuff. That's the most simple way of putting it. And I'm thinking about that prophecy, and this whole time, I've been like BRICS. He was seeing BRICS. It was so wonderful to hear Trump say that. I'm going to make it big. Hear Trump say this.
BRICS was put there for a bad purpose, and most of those people they don't even want to talk about it now. They're afraid to talk about it because I told them if they want to play games with the dollar, then they're going to be hit with a 100% tariff the day they mention that they want to do it, and they will come back and say, we beg you not to do this. BRICS is dead since I mentioned that. BRICS died the minute I mentioned that. And I remember when Obama and Biden in particular, I guess he said that, they have us over a barrel. They don't have us over a barrel. We have them over a barrel.
Beautiful. Isn't that beautiful? So, and I thought it was so cool that I was able to repost BRICS News. So coming from BRICS, they posted Trump saying that, and I reposted it in connection to that prophecy, because I really feel that's a big part of it. What we saw prophesied there, along with death to debt, we're seeing the fulfillment of that prophecy right now, and it is amazing because I've been following BRICS for a long time, and you guys know that because you've been following it with me. I just very excited about that. So, but something else I wanted to talk to you guys about today is, and I'll keep that there. I've got all these screens in front of me. Hello, Daytona Beach. Looked up and saw your post. Is this it? Oh, yes, this is it. Lou, are we going to play it off my X page, or are you just going to play it? The Esther. I think he's coming. You will play it. Okay. Wait 1 second so I can tell them what's going on. Okay. So yesterday, if you did not watch, Christy and I did analysis at the House of Destiny Network, as we do every Saturday, and we covered the Esther prophecy. Now, here's the thing. Like a week or so ago, my mom called me and she said, I think Christy Noem is the Esther. And I said, Mom, no. I said, I don't want to even say anything about the Esther. I don't want to talk about the Esther because I was so convinced Amy Coney Barrett was the Esther. I was completely wrong about that. And over the years, there's been so many people. I was so sure I had found the Esther. And every time I've been wrong. And so now I'm apprehensive about it. I don't even want to talk about the Esther prophecy because I don't want to be misleading anybody. I really never intended to, and it sort of turned out that way. And so I had backed away. But my mother said, look at her, she's down there with ICE. He said, and if you remember in the prophecy, he said that they'll be afraid of a woman. The cartels will be afraid of a woman anointed by God with big, beautiful eyes. Now, all of these women that I've thought was the Esther have had big, beautiful eyes. So I'm just going to like that attribute, Carrie Lake has big, beautiful eyes. All the different people. So, and for me, I was looking for, okay, if he said cartels will be afraid of a woman anointed by God, if cartels are afraid of this woman, then she has to be in a position of authority that would have some kind of effect on cartels as a whole. It can't just be just anybody. It has to be someone who's in a position of authority that can make decisions that will affect the cartels as a whole. And so that's something I've looked at. Now, Pam Bondi is another candidate. So we didn't do this broadcast as Christy Noem is the Esther. We're asking the question. And I think for whatever reason, God has not made this particular prophecy as clear, but it is becoming clearer and clearer. Because of the other things that were prophesied alongside what he said about the Esther. Yes. So he said he saw a president who would come. He would have no fear. He saw him signing things. He'd have no fear. And there would be agreements between nations, specifically China. And you'd say, we never dreamed this could happen. Now you're seeing that begin to happen now. We saw what happened with Mexico and Canada. Trump dealt with it fast. It's now the Gulf of America. And the border is closed and crossings are 85% down and they're taking care of it. So in the middle of that, we see Dad saw it as the restoration of America. Okay, we're finally at that point where you could say we are at the restoration of America, because the Biden administration was no such thing as restoration. So that part of the prophecy, for anybody who hasn't seen this prophecy, I'm about to play it for you if you're confused. So these are all the things that are going on with that. Now, I love Pam Bondi. I've also considered her. I am not going to be the person who makes the announcement on who this is, because I've been wrong so much about this particular. I've been right about the other ones, but not this prophecy. So, and God must have a reason for this, and He's teaching me something, and through that, you guys will learn it with me, and we'll all understand prophecy better. And I think that's the goal here. But Lou, go ahead and play that.
I see a president that shall come. God says he will have absolutely no fear. And God says, listen to me. As the beginning of the restoration,
as it begins. There shall be a woman that shall rise up, a woman that shall be strong in faith, virtuous, beautiful in eyes, and her eyes shall be so beautiful. And God says healing shall begin, and then it shall flow rapidly. Schools will be free from potential damage and danger, shootings and murder, drug addiction. Cartels shall be afraid of a woman anointed by God, a woman set aside. And God says they will say we hated her, now we love her, for she shall take the oil of healing and she shall pour it upon the scars of those left and those right. And God said she shall say no more bitterness, no more anger, no more division. Lift your voice and shout one more time and say yes, yes to Esther, yes to Esther, yes to Esther.
Isn't that cool? I love how our editors worked on that, and there's a few people worked on that, and it turned out really good. I love that the way they're doing they're editing the videos to present them that way. It makes it cool. So I saw someone in the comments on YouTube say, "But how is she hated?" And that is a good question. I do remember there were some things that, like, didn't she shoot her dog? And then she put it in the book, and I don't know. I don't know. I see people putting Tulsi Gabbard up. Tulsi could be another one. But in particular, he said the cartels, and you see her down there in the uniform and the outfits, and, with ICE dealing at the border. And we do know Pam Bondi also, Purple Cat 7 in Rumble. It could be Pam Bondi too, because she's also in that position of authority. So we have to keep praying about it, keep watching. But that was my mom. My mom said, you need to do this. So Christy and I really went through that prophecy yesterday on the House of Destiny broadcast on analysis. If you have not seen that yet, you can go to houseofdestiny.tv or just watch it on our social media, wherever you watch us. It was up yesterday. We started streaming it yesterday. Christy and I covered this in much more depth. We really picked it apart. And so I would say definitely go. If you have not watched that, go and watch it. It's not very long. And Christy and I, we dug in there, and it was really good. So everybody have a look and see. I'm reading your shot or puppy. Yeah, see, I'm not cool with that either. But anyway, maybe it's Christina. Maybe it's Tulsi Gabbard. Maybe it's Pam Bondi. Maybe it's Anna Paulina Luna. My husband really, really, for a long time thought it was her. Her husband is Border Patrol. So we've still got it's not answered. The question's not answered. So go watch yesterday's broadcast, and that'll give you a lot. I don't have the time today to go over all that again, and we just did it on the broadcast yesterday. So go watch that. Again, you can find it if you are on YouTube or Rumble. Just look for the video before this one was put up yesterday, or go to the House of Destiny, houseofdestiny.tv, and you can watch it there, or on the app. We have an app, by the way, House of Destiny. If you're in the App Store, type in or search House of Destiny, and you'll see the little red flame. Do we have it up, the logo, Lou, anywhere? I hadn't thought of that. It's on my phone. I can show you the app. So you can download our app and you can stream from there as well. The only thing we don't do yet is we can't go live on the app like we are here right now. But everything else that is streamed is on the app. And it looks like, I'll cover up other stuff. It looks like that. You see? It's like a little, oh no, I don't want to delete it. Oh dear. Well, I suppose it's fine if you see that. If you look at the little red, see, it's a little house, the flame. That's what it looks like. House of Destiny. And then you can, when you go in there, you can see the prophecy database too. I know a lot of you already know this stuff, but for people who don't, if you go into the app, see, there it is. At the bottom, it says info. And you'll see like that. And then you scroll down and you see that right there. That's the prophecy database. So you can search, do keyword searches of prophecies into the phone, the app on your phone, and you can search right there. You don't have to go to a computer. So for anybody who didn't know that, you can search the prophecy database right in the app and stream all of our shows. Anonymous Ware says Kristen is no Christy. Her name's Christy. Is not the Esther. Maybe she's not. I don't know. I have such a terrible time with this prophecy that I just don't want to say. Tulsi is Hindu. No, she's not. Is she? Yeah. I don't know either. We'll ask God to reveal it to us, to our little group. We're going to ask him, Lord Jesus, please reveal this to us in a special way. Oh, Bali's coming.
Yes, she is. She spoke about it. I think it was before her confirmation.
Tulsi.
Mm-hmm. She is Hindu.
She's Hindu.
Mm-hmm. She wears.
Well, we need to pray for her to get saved.
Red band.
That we got to pray for her to get
from
saved.
Hawaii.
Hindu. You know what? Let me just tell you something.
But it doesn't matter.
Okay, the caste system has so much damage. Okay, we won't start going into Hinduism. I studied it at school. I disagree so much. And the people are lovely, but there's some concepts in Hinduism that are beautiful, but it is not the truth. And so we need to pray for her to get saved. Lord Jesus, please. Come on, somebody witness to Tulsi. She can't be a Hindu. She's got to be a Christian. She can't be a Hindu.
Here's the thing.
Is Vivek a Hindu?
I think so.
No, man. I thought he was a Christian now.
Well, he could be. I don't
Do
know
you guys
about him,
know
but
if
I know.
Vivek, anybody in the chat
I know that
Vivek
she
is
did
a
say she
Christian? I thought
was.
he was a Christian.
But here's the thing. She's in the government. Not everyone in government's Christian. We got to pray for the government. The government government rests on God's shoulders. But not everyone's going to be Christian.
But I like Tulsi, and I
we
want
can
her to
still
be a
like them,
Christian
then we
because
pray,
I like
and we pray. She will have visitations in her sleep.
She's got that cool little streak of white. Man, I want a little streak of white like Tulsi.
She reminds me of an Avengers kind of.
They
person.
are like the Avengers.
She probably changed over to Hinduism because of him.
Well, J.D. Vance, he's a Christian. Is his wife? There kind of is a Hindu theme woven through this. We've got Vivek. We've got J.D. Vance's wife. Tulsi. Modi was just here. Is he a president or a prime minister? Prime minister.
Mm-hmm.
I follow Modi, and I follow what's going on in India just because there's something. Kash Patel. But I think he's a Christian.
I think he is.
Just because they're Indian doesn't mean they're Hindu, by the way.
Yeah.
And I have found as a Christian who grew up in South Africa, I mean, Grandpa Fred,
we have a lot
the Durban Christian Center, so many Hindu converts. Indian culture is a huge part of South African culture, and we're from South Africa. And my uncle, Lou's grandfather, pastored the first multiracial church in South Africa under apartheid, by the way. Incredible. But had a huge Indian
congregation.
A huge percentage of the congregation were Indian, but I've found that they tend to convert to Christianity easier than, let's say, Muslim or Jewish, because they accept the concept of God and a man.
Yeah.
So in Hinduism, they've got Krishna, and they've got the idea of the incarnation of the Vishnu, and the Vishnu is kind of kind of the same idea as Jesus, and so that even though it's false and I don't believe it, I do find that Hindus can convert easier because that side of it is easy for them to accept Christ as being God incarnate.
The biggest difference in the conversion thing is that mostly Indian women convert to Christianity a lot quicker than the husbands do. Then you'll mainly find that men will go look for Christian women to marry and then convert them to Hinduism.
Huh.
So the men will come and convert the Christian
But
woman.
the caste
So it
system
goes
is
like that.
cruel.
So there's a whole difference. I mean, Durban has the second largest Indian population next to India.
I know.
And it had, well, I don't know about now because of how long it's been, but it's always been a huge Indian population. So we kind of know about
we know a lot about this just from where we grew up. And
they're open to the visitation of God. And that's what the most important thing is. If we pray for these people and we lift them up, they'll be visited in dreams. God
and you'll
showing
find that
himself
once
up
they
in all these
convert to
places,
Christianity,
they
they are
are
so
100%
passionate and
in.
on fire. You know, and I've known a lot of Indian, like there was a girl I went to school with, and her family were missionaries. They were Indian. They lived in America, but they would go back every summer and do missions work in India. And I will say the caste system in Hinduism is extraordinarily cruel. There's certainly no redemption there because of reincarnation and their beliefs about karma and reincarnation. They believe that wherever you are born is where you deserve to be based on what you did in your past life. And so it's sort of like, well, if you were born in the upper classes, then in your past life you must have done something good and you've ended, and it's just false. And so just very interesting. Because it's an observation we've now made that there's this sort of thread of Hinduism there. And is it something we need to pray about? I think it is. All right, everybody, we are out of time. I won't go back to my X page. I think I've got Esther in there. And if you go to my X page, you'll see that I did post some of Modi, Prime Minister Modi's visit. I follow him on X, and so I was reposting some of what he did while he was here. And I will actually be on the Kingdom Age podcast, I think in a week or two, where Arun from Kingdom Age will be interviewing me, and he's in India. So be on the lookout for that. And I will share about that once I've done the interview. I'll share so you guys can watch it. And I'm going to ask him a bunch of questions about what's happening in India right now, because there's a lot of persecution of Christians happening by Hindus in India. So very interesting. Stay tuned for that. Follow me on X and you'll see I'll post about it. And Hank Kuhneman prophesied that Pam Bondi has a double anointing. That's interesting. Karen says I'm correct about the caste system. I studied Eastern religions in school, and so I actually know a little bit about that. But we are done for today, my friends. Let's keep praying about who is the Esther. We're going to keep praying for our government. Lou is trying to send me something. Books. Oh, last week we thought it was a troll, but somebody was very upset. Do you remember their name? Somebody was very upset in the comments over this because they never got their book. And so if you are the person you were on X last week and you told us we were grifters because you didn't get your book, I am so sorry. I didn't see that till after the broadcast was over. But I am so sorry. If you would email us, Lou put my email address at the bottom, Codebreakers. Jacqueline, I want you to look out for the email on Codebreakers if they write in. There's my email address. If you did not receive your daily light, please write to us at codebreakers@houseofdestiny.org. My sister is going to be looking for that email. And if you give us your address in the email, if it was you that was upset last week because you didn't get your book, your devotional, we will send it to you right away. The only reason we don't automatically send it is because some people give weekly or monthly, and or maybe just sporadically, but they already have one and they don't want us to send them one every time they send an offering in or something to support us. And so that being said, If you give a donation of any amount today or any day, and you want this, we will send it to you. It doesn't matter if you give $1. We're going to send this to you. It's a 31-day devotional. Everything written by my dad. So anointed, beautiful, and they're my favorite picture of him on the back. I love that picture of him. This is incredible. He loved devotionals. I mean, we used to give him a devotional or a Bible or a journal every Father's Day, every birthday, every Christmas. He had so many of them, but he loved the devotionals, and so we put one together of things he'd written. And it's called The Daily Light because he called it The Daily Light. And so if you are giving us an offering at the House of Destiny today or any day, wait, what, Lou? Lou's saying not those that give on YouTube or Rumble. Yes. So you have to go to our website and click the link and process the offering that way, even if it's only $1, even if it's only 50 cents. Do it that way instead of through the social medias, through Rumble and YouTube. Don't do it through there. If you want this, make sure you use the QR code or go to our website and click the link, and then you'll get it. Just to clear up that confusion, because I felt bad afterwards that, we just thought it was a troll, and it wasn't actually a troll. Somebody was legitimately upset because they gave an offering and they didn't get their daily light. And I want to make sure everyone gets it. And then the other one for $25 or more, if you've given an offering today of $25 or more, you want to, and you want this, we will send it to you. Just make sure you use the QR code or go to houseofdestiny.org, kimclement.com. Those are both the same. You'll land you on the same website, and click the banner and give your offering that way if you want this, and we'll send it to you. And we do appreciate your support. I cannot express it enough. I would not be able to share these prophecies or have this time with you or do anything at all to do with my dad's prophecies if it wasn't for your support. The other thing is I encourage you to join our partnership. My dad had some partner programs that were awesome when he was alive, and over time, those kind of, phased out, and he wasn't here anymore, and we had to, we kind of weren't doing anything. And then I realized, something we really need help with is gathering the footage of these prophecies so that we can play video of them, or just at least know what was prophesied. And we don't have everything. And it costs money because some of the stuff we have is big old television tapes from television cameras, the big old ones, and all different kinds of DAT tapes and all kinds of formats because it's decades. And in order to digitize that, it takes a lot of work, and we need help paying for it because I can't pay for it. Otherwise I would. And so one way that you can help me in sharing these prophecies and contributing to building up this database of prophecy that people in generations to come can look back and say, wow, this is what Kim Clement did. These are the things he prophesied. Look what came to pass. All of that. You can join us. It's $7 or more a month. And if you want to join us, it's a lot less than Netflix, and it's a lot better. And there's so much in there. You guys, there is so much in there. We've upgraded the prophecy database. So the original database where you can do keyword searches that I showed you in the app, that remains forever. We won't touch that. But we've upgraded it in the partnership. So if you go into the vault, we've upgraded the way that your experience of the prophecy database is, as well as the School of the Prophets is in there, and a bunch of teaching series of my dad, music. There's so much. So do go if you want to go to. You can either use that QR code or just go to the website and join us. Join me in this endeavor. It's so unusual what we're doing here. This is not a normal church experience at all. But it's undeniable. God did something very special here. And my dad always said it would just be a remnant of people who would be a part of this. So if you're watching this today, if you've been following me and my dad and what's been going on, you are part of a little remnant of people who get to know things everybody else doesn't. But definitely we can then share that. And it is a testament to Christ, to what he did for us, who he is, that God does care, that he exists, that he's involved in our lives. All of this is true. And so Oh, I think I'm done for the day, though. I'm reading your comments right before I leave. It's not a money grift, Daniel. He just he called it the School of the Prophets because my dad was a really fun person, and a lot of people just kept asking him how it worked, and he had kept having to repeat himself. So he put it together in what he called the School of the Prophets. It's not a real school. It's that's just the title of it. But he teaches you his experience and what happened to him. So it's not a grift. I just don't have enough money to pay for all the stuff myself, or I would. I'm not a rich person. I'm just a regular girl. But my dad wasn't so regular, and a lot of people are interested in that. So if you're interested, I encourage you. But you know what? I can't do this broadcast without someone calling me a grifter. But I wouldn't be able to. I can't do it on my own. We can't do it by ourselves. We're we're not. We're not just made of money. Yeah, we're not. We're not. Some people, and I understand people being that way because there are a lot of ministries out there who have, there's been abuses, just as there's been abuses with prophecy. So I completely understand, and that's why everything we have is for free. But if you want to support us, that's the way you can do it. And a lot of people do. They ask me all the time. They want to sow into this. They can see it's something unique. And I promise you, if I had enough money, I would just pay for all, but I don't have it. And so thank you for supporting us, because it was a hard decision. This has not been an easy road for Mom and I. We weren't the people that were on the platform ministering that way. We would pray for people. We were more the behind the scenes people doing that stuff. And when my dad died, it was like, well, obviously we were just going to shut everything down, but we couldn't. I mean, what would you do if you had this pile of prophecies that were just coming to pass in front of you and could really help at a time when people needed help? And so it's been a sacrifice for our family. It's not been easy. And so for those of you who do recognize that, thank you so much. And thank you for supporting us. Because it's because of you that I can come here every Sunday and show you these prophecies, that we can find them, that we can look at them, that we can pray together, and really recognize what it is that God's really doing, and what does it mean, and what does it mean for the future? Because we always have to be looking forward to the future and what God, and lately, a lot of it has been sort of hyper focused on the present and what was prophesied, but it's going to, that's going to change as well as these prophecies come to their fulfillment. But it's a beautiful thing that's happened, and we want to be able to preserve that. And so for those of you who want to be a part of preserving that, I invite you to join me at the Prophecy Vault. And if you think I'm a grifter, you don't have to do anything. You can turn the show off right now and leave. And nobody's forcing you. And I'm not promising anything other than everybody. And I will be back next week. I don't know what's going to happen yet. So follow my X page, and you'll be able to sort of gauge. Also, if you don't follow my YouTube channel, make sure you do. Lou, do you have it? Follow my YouTube channel, because I am going to be posting stuff there too this week, so you don't want to miss that. And make sure that when you subscribe to my YouTube channel, put on those notifications, because it's sort of more random over there. Okay, everybody. Love you, love you, love you all. Thank you so much for joining me again this week. I'll be back next week, and we'll see what God has done. Oh, it's so exciting. Hello, friends. I'm Donna Clement Petrushka, and I am honored to invite you to something truly extraordinary, the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Now you can gain unprecedented access to my father's entire digitized video archive. Every prophetic moment, every powerful teaching, every anointed worship session is now available to you in the Prophecy Vault. Plus, I'm excited to share that my dad's special School of the Prophets teachings are included, offering you deep, transformative lessons on hearing God's voice and understanding his revelations. Your partnership is crucial. Not only will you gain access to these incredible resources, but you'll also help us continue the vital work of preserving, digitizing, and adding new Kim Clement material to the archives. I'm inviting you to step into the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Let's embark on this journey of revelation together, and I can't wait to see you inside.
Partnerships are vital to our global outreach, enabling us to take the love and hope of Jesus Christ to those who need it most. Our Boots on the Ground Partnership Program physically ministers to those in desperate situations all over the world. The Israel Partnership furthers Kim's legacy of outreach to Israel and Jewish people worldwide. We invite you to become a partner today. Join us today and be part of a community that inspires hope, brings restoration to life, and often healing from the past. Together, we can make a difference, and we thank you for your ongoing support.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed, because right now,
We here at the House of Destiny are partnering with you to let our viewers, of course, know about your company. It's Beverly Hills Precious Metal.
Andrew, explain how that works.
So I'll walk you through it right now. So if you go to bh-pm.com, right there on the homepage, you'll see a form that you could fill out. And that form is very important in letting us know how we can help you. So you just put in your first name, last name, email address, phone number. There's a section that says, how did you hear about us? And in there, put Kim Clement. And then there's a portion where you could write a couple of notes down on the bottom. Usually within about 24 to 48 hours, we'll contact you. And then by phone call. And then we'll go over everything with you. This isn't a high pressure deal. We always recommend that if you feel uncomfortable, take a step back, pray about it. You will gain the answers that you need by doing that, and come back to us when you're comfortable.